In a dark part of town, a woman runs away from two would-be thugs, who corner her in a dark alley where she cannot escape. Suddenly, a boy appears behind them and tells them to run, but they only wonder what a child has to do with what is happening here. He should get lost if he knows what's good for him. The boy tells them once again to run away, if they don't want to die, that is. They both think that he is just making fun of them, or trying to act tough, but still, they need to teach him that he shouldn't mess with grown-up business. As the boy takes off the band-aid that was on his neck, a few ants start to come out of the hole he was covering, and that's when the thug's friend is ripped in half and the blood sprays all over his face. The woman, who seemed to be the one in danger and very vulnerable, is actually an insector, who knew that the boy was going to meddle with her meal, so she shows her true self to be done with it. As the thug runs away, scared beyond his wits, the boy becomes increasingly engulfed in ants, and the woman calls him by his true name, the Black Ant. The next day, the bug reapers are fast at work analyzing the murder site, which seemed more like a battlefield, as there are cuts and holes everywhere around the area, with the addition of a yet unidentified lower body of a man. According to their witness, who didn't give them that much information due to his shock, there was a boy that was around the area. The main researcher pulls out a cigarette, and the smoke he unleashes kills a nearby mosquito, showing its pesticidal attributes. The first sighting of the Insectors was in 2005, as monsters resembling normal insects started appearing in the entire world. Everywhere they go, they cause harm, whether to feed or out of enjoyment. But the most disturbing thing about these creatures is that they have seamlessly integrated into society and live among humans without a care. These are the Insectors. Most people still consider them an urban legend, but they are very real. So if they ever expect someone to be one, they should contact them ASAP. Signed, the Bug Reapers. This was a pamphlet read by the class head of a certain classroom. The teacher congratulated her for reading it so well, and he notes that most of them must already know of what happened yesterday in Namundan, but it seems that the police are certain that it's connected to an insector, so they shouldn't hang about after school ends and go straight home. The class head, Cho Ah, is asked by one of her friends, Bang Se-jin, if she didn't live in Namundan, which she confirms, so she asks her friend to go home together, as she doesn't feel safe walking alone. Two guys start discussing the bug people too, with one asking if he thinks if these things are really real. The other believes it, as they have an insect in their class too. This guy, Kami-sun, who looks like a drone. The teacher asks everyone for the assignment he gave them last time, but the whole class starts groaning, which makes the teacher say that it will be graded even if they didn't do it or not, so it will affect their overall grades. As all of the students continue to groan and be angry that they didn't do their assignment, the teacher tells Cho to gather up every assignment and bring it to him once she is done. The bell eventually rings, and after the teacher leaves, the two boys tell Cho to not submit the assignments, as besides her and some other nerds, nobody has done it, so they should also sink with the ship and give it up. It's just a grade after all. They start fighting about it, as Cho clearly doesn't want to do it only because they're irresponsible. But that's when Sun stops their argument by putting his assignment in Cho's face and telling her that this is his. She thanks him with a blush in her face, but as he sits down back in his seat, he spots an ant that walks up on his notebook and seems to resonate with him somehow. Out of nowhere, one of the bullies that were talking about the assignment earlier crushes it into his notebook, killing it instantly. He tells him to stop acting like a damn drone, as all he knows what to do is what others tell him. His face is also strangely annoying, and why does he even wear a bandage on his neck? He got a hickey or something. As Sun just looks at them, Cho asks her friend what a hickey means, which makes her immediately start blushing and tell the bullies to stop, as it's none of their business. Even with that, they decide to still take it off, revealing that he only has a big black spot on his neck. This makes one of the bullies mad, as why is he even trying to cover up something like this? To seem cool or interesting. That's when he notices that an ant comes out of that hole and crawls down his neck into his uniform, scaring him witless. He falls to the ground and swears to his friend that an ant just came out of him, making his friend think that he actually lost it. Jin asks Cho if she actually likes Sun, which makes her instantly blush and deny it. But in her head, it's only natural for her to like him. He is very athletic, studious, and eats like a bull. How can one not like a fine specimen like that? Later, Cho goes to the teacher's lounge and gives their teacher the promised homework, with only her and Sun having completed it. The teacher swears at the other students under his breath and says that she and Sun are free to go home, as everyone who did not do their homework must attend the garbage collection after school. As Cho walks back, she wonders if it's okay to say this to the others, as they might get angry if she tells them about it. But she also doesn't want to go home alone, so she gets the idea to invite Sun to come with her, as he also lives in the Naemundong area, if she remembers it right. When she walks back to class, she spots Sun putting back his band-aid in a nearby mirror, and she explains what the teacher told her, that they are free to go, so would he like to go home together with her, maybe? Sun apologizes, as he cannot do that, since he has some urgent business to attend to. Reluctantly, she lets him go, and at the incinerator, The students start to clean up, but the bullies are very mad that they have to stay behind and do something like this. Jin tells them to just clean up, as they will be done quicker. But when someone asks if they will at least get some extra grade credit for it, Cho responds with no, as she is crouching down and sweeping in quite a sad fashion. Jin asks her why she isn't just going home, but she says that she's actually waiting for her, while also explaining that Sun rejected her invitation, so she has nobody to go home with. Jin is surprised that she mustered this much courage, but isn't that guy just too harsh? He could have accepted. Cho tells him that she doesn't know a thing. He is actually very sweet and cool and a bunch of other colorful adjectives. As the others continue their work, the bullies go out behind a building for a smoke break, while still talking about Sun and the ant that crawled out of his neck. The bully who saw it promises to mess with him tomorrow, as he is not done, but it seems that he won't be able to, as an insector was waiting for them, eager for their flesh. He instantly kills the both of them, with one of the bullies' heads flying directly at a classmate's feet. She immediately starts screaming and running away, while telling everyone to do the same, as there is an insector on the loose. As the insector comes out of his hiding place, he repeats the same words. "I told you." He says them again and again while killing everyone who is not fast enough to dodge his onslaught. But even if the students try to get out of his way, he just seems too fast for them. Jin is suddenly pulled back by one of the male students who is now in full survival instinct, so it's only natural for him to do something like this. As she falls, she hits her head on a rock, with Cho immediately crouching down to her level and telling her to wake up, as they have to run away now. Unfortunately for them, the insector is already behind her, repeating the same words. Cho gets up to defend her friend, but that's when the carapace of the insector opens up, and out of it comes the teacher's head, who notes that he told her to leave after school. She is shocked by this, but the teacher is extremely mad as he told her, yet she didn't do it. Now he must silence her for good. Before his mighty attack can crush her into bits, a fast and dangerous line of ants cuts both of his arms off cleanly, saving Cho's life. When she looks to see who saved her, she sees a person wearing a black suit, almost looking like a hero from the comics. As the black suit hero stands proud, Cho falls into unconsciousness, as all of this is too much for her, but the hero grabs her before she can fall. The teacher asks him why he is killing someone of his own kind, as he knows he is the famous black ant. But does he really fight for the people? This imposing figure seems to actually be Sun. The teacher starts screaming at him, as they are at the very top of the food chain. Thanks to their endless evolution, they have surpassed all other species on this planet. There is no longer a need to protect these insignificant creatures. They are not the bugs. Sun responds with a single punch that sends the teacher flying into the nearby building. He picks up both girls and gently puts them down somewhere safe, while saying that he does not fight for these people. He fights for something else. It's just like him. He is only hunting. The teacher asks if he is so malnourished that he would actually resort to eating his own, but fine. If he wants to do it that way, then so be it, as he also has a hard time finding food, so he will consume him and leave the humans be. He charges into Sun while in a ball shape, which actually manages to hit him, and even if he tries to stop the attack, it proves to be too powerful, so he is sent flying in some trees. The teacher notes that even without his arms, he can still kill a weakling like him, as if he is an ant. He should just sit still and be crushed like one. He ascends high into the air and launches himself towards Sun, who cannot hope to dodge, so he is hit with the full brunt of the attack. The teacher does this again and again, leaving Sun's body utterly crushed under all of the force, with him unable to do anything. As the teacher prepares one final attack, the heaviest of them all, Sun tells the ant to prepare for combat, as their opponent is coming. The teacher does manage to descend on him with full force once again, but he doesn't notice the gaping hole that he has in his chest due to Sun's secret weapon. With him in place, he uses transformation to remove the ants from his legs and enhance his arms, enhancing them into something truly monstrous. The teacher tells him to let go, and Sun does just that, as he throws him with full force. He doesn't stop there, however, as he uses the momentum to grab onto him and pummel him to the ground. Before the teacher can ask where his power comes from, Sun once again raises him in the air and starts crushing him slowly with his increased strength. The teacher begs him to stop, as he has not evolved enough in his life. He didn't reach his true form. Sun has no mercy for him, however, and like a used soda can, he crushes him into bits. With his objective completed, he says that he is quite hungry, so he should go and eat. But behind him there is another insector, who apparently watched the fight go down with great anticipation.